Hi, I'm John Mallos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this Tuesday morning. I'm glad you're here. Today we're talking about Hurricane Harvey. And brace yourselves, my friends, because the Gulf Coast states, including the state of Texas, Houston, and all around Beaumont, Texas, they're bracing possibly for another hurricane that's on the way. Hurricane Irma. We'll talk about how you can donate to the Red Cross and help today. You're watching Connect with me, and it starts right now.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
All right, back here on the program talking about Hurricane Harvey today and how you can help the Red Cross and donate to some of the victims down there in Houston and all the surrounding areas of that major city that was hit by Hurricane Harvey. I got to tell you, it's amazing what we're seeing out of there. Some of the video is just staggering. The loss, and even the loss of life. We'll talk about that during the course of the program. Somebody from the Red Cross is in here right now. And so, we're going to get into this, and you can call their number or you can call here and find out how to donate. So we'll do both today here. Almost like a mini telethon, if you will. We'll tell you all the details about what's going on in Houston and also some of the fires that are ravaging here in the Central Valley as well. For now, you're watching us live on Comcast Channel 375 as usual. If you don't have Comcast cable, you can catch us over the air broadcast, 13.1, 43.6. That's over the air broadcast. Later in the day, it's another over the air broadcast replay, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 13.6 YouTube, 8 o'clock tonight on 4.6 Biz TV. And the simple way to catch us on YouTube, if you can't catch the show live, is simply you go to youtube.com, you hit the /, very simple. After that slash, you put Me TV Fresno in there, and then you scroll down to the uploads icon, you click on that bad boy, and you can catch any show that you want to here in the last 5.5 years, including today's program, which is all too important. In fact, let's get right into it. I want to roll the videotape. Hurricane Harvey, the victims. Here's an aerial shot of Houston. These homes completely submerged underwater. Look at this. I mean, these are schools, they're businesses, there's homes. Look at that estate right there. Totally ravaged and devastated. As of now, about 550,000 people have applied for FEMA. That's the Federal Emergency Aid Program that the government serves to people that have been hit by natural disasters such as Hurricane Harvey. 185,000 homes destroyed in Houston. That is a rough estimate. It could be even higher. We don't know. But get this. One insurance company said at least 1 million cars in the Houston area have been destroyed or damaged by floodwaters. More than $100 billion in damages. More importantly, 63 people have lost their lives as a result of Hurricane Harvey. Donald Trump, the President of the United States, as you know, made 2 trips down to Houston. The first one, he did not come in contact with any of the victims. The second time he did, that was this past Saturday when Air Force One flew in. He did tour some of the sites. Many of the reporters have been up in choppers looking down at the devastation that Hurricane Harvey has created. Trillions and trillions and trillions of gallons of water that were poured onto a major city. And give a big kudos, a big round of applause to J.J. Watts of the Houston football team. That's right, because he is a hometown hero helping raise $20 million or more for the victims of Harvey. J.J. Watts, a hero in the National Football League, but more so a hero to the people of Houston, helping raise $20 million. Brace yourselves. Hurricane Irma is on the way. It could hit Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, the British Virgin Islands, Cuba, Dominican, and Haiti. Live in our studio right now is Barry Falke. He is the Executive Director of the Red Cross right here in the Central Valley. And I want to get right into it. Don't even want to go to a commercial right now. I will in a moment. Barry, welcome to the program. We've seen the devastation. As I said, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Dominican, Haiti, the U.S. and British Virgin Islands could be hit again. Florida is on the lookout for Hurricane Irma, a Category 5. What should people down there be worried about? And talk about your organization and what it's doing to help the victims down there right now, because you're in tune with what's going on.
Sure. So, I mean, I think the first thing we would say is it's really critical that people listen to any kind of evacuation orders or warnings that their local governments might have for Irma as that hurricane does approach some of those areas that you mentioned. In relation to Harvey and kind of where we've been at, the Red Cross continues to be not only on the ground. We were on the ground before Harvey hit landfall. We've been there since then. We are last night had over 30,000 shelter stays still to this day. We fed over 64,000 people yesterday. And the Red Cross,
64,000 people
64,000 meals.
Oh, 60,000. Yeah. Okay, but how many people housed in how many shelters?
Over 30,000 shelters, over 30,000 people in shelters in over 200 shelters. Community and
provided
Red Cross
by the Red
shelters.
Cross?
And community partners as well.
Community partners,
yeah.
Okay,
so
go ahead.
it's a both and it certainly does takes a village. It's not just the Red Cross. It's certainly able to do all of this work by ourselves. But it really is something that is the largest disaster certainly that the Red Cross has experienced since Katrina, and we are very, very proud, I think, to continuing to do this type of work.
Yeah, and what's the biggest concern right now? It's food, water. Is that the main thing? I mean, obviously clothing. A lot of these people, they lost their clothing. They're wearing the same clothes they have for days on end. But more importantly, it's food and water. Am I right?
It's basic
Any kind
needs.
of medical supplies.
Right, exactly. So the Red Cross is trying to meet basic needs, immediate needs, such as food, sheltering, medications is certainly something the Red Cross would be doing. We don't collect clothing, but we do encourage people to donate to partners who can do some of that. So I mentioned some of the community partners that we work with, wonderful organizations like Salvation Army or Goodwill that are kind of working to make sure that people have those items as well. So it really does take a village, I think, to make sure that we can make sure that these people have their needs met.
Yeah, how many partners do you have down in Houston that you're working with?
It has to be dozens. I mean, I don't have exact specifics.
You're talking about what?
There.
When you say partners, what does that mean? Like
we're
churches?
Talking churches, organizations like the Salvation Army, organization like United Way, whether it be organizations or local community foundations, community funds that are maybe working towards helping those who are been affected as well. So it's all sorts of people. I mean, it truly does. You mentioned J.J. Watt, right? I mean,
that guy is a true hero. That guy raised $20 million.
Doing great work. And I mean, and again, like so it takes really the involvement of everybody, I think, to make sure that a need of this size can be met. It's not certainly something that I think the Red Cross thinks or assumes that it can handle by itself. And so we're really, really happy to be one of many partners on the ground that are helping those who need help right now.
Yeah, and a lot of people behind the scenes helping too. A lot of people that are in the public eye, they want to help and help donate. But J.J. Watts, he is he's like an icon down there in Houston. He plays for the Houston Texans of the National Football League. The NFL opens up its regular season this coming weekend, and you know how much game time preparation that takes to prepare for a season. You have to stay in shape. You got to learn the playbook. You've got to prep for your opponent. Yet he's taken the time to help these victims, which is time consuming within itself, to help raise $20 million. I'm going to keep saying that over and over again. Here's a guy that has everything, but he's helping those who have nothing right now. So what does that say about him and some of the people that are helping in Houston?
Well, I think about the volunteers that we have. We have over 3,000 workers on the ground just for the Red Cross right now in the Texas area and Louisiana area. Over 90% of our workforce is volunteers. And so these are people who have just left their lives to go up and really support people who need our help. And I think it really does speak to just the human condition and just certainly people's desire to want to help when there's a major issue like this or a major crisis. And we couldn't be more proud, I think, of the people who whether they're volunteering or whether they're making a donation. We've had a very, very generous community even here in the Central Valley over the last week or so, an amazing outpouring of support that has just been tremendous.
Okay, let me ask you some details here before we get into the next segment here, and that is, Okay, in the last week, I know you partnered with Channel 30 on Thursday. It was a national effort with ABC News across the board. The Disney company, which is the parent company of ABC, donated $1 million to help some of the victims down there in Houston and the Gulf states. Of course, ABC 30 was a part of that. You were on there as well. How much money has been raised since then, just up until this time? That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and now we're into Tuesday morning.
So I don't have access to the national numbers at this point, right? And I think that while we're in response mode right now, we're very clear
how
to
much
say,
money have you raised here in the Central Valley in the last week?
So I honestly, even the Channel 30 numbers are not numbers that we've been given access to just yet, because I know they raised $14.4 million nationwide.
Nationally, yeah.
But
I've heard some figures locally on Channel 30. I've heard up to a couple of million.
So I've not heard that yet. Now I know we did a telethon on Channel 24 and 47 here locally. We raised $113,000 in one day.
Maybe that figure is off. Maybe I heard that someplace else. But
I know they're sharing that number. We raised $113,000 through a telethon on Wednesday that we have. We've not necessarily heard the numbers yet back from Channel 30, and just because again it was a national number, most people were texting to give. Or donating for a website, so you really you'd have to know either a zip code or kind of where an area code came from.
Maybe I didn't hear that from. Maybe I heard that from somebody else, but just within the last week. So if I want to donate, let's say I want to donate $100, to the victims in Houston. How much of that $100 is actually going to go to the victims of Houston?
So we are very, very particular about donor intent. And so I am willing to say right here on air with everybody, if you donate $100 to go to Houston, and you write on your memo line in your check Houston or Harvey, that money is going to go straight into a designated fund that's going to go directly to that.
All of it.
And as an organization, we are very proud, and we have one of the best ratings on Charity Navigator, on the Better Business Bureau, about our transparency as a Red Cross. 91 cents out of every dollar goes directly to our program services. So I mean that's a number that.
So you keep 9 cents of it, but then the 91 cents of every dollar goes to Hurricane Harvey victims.
Yes. So the 9 cents is for administrative, and I think that there's every organization has a little bit of administrative overhead. Just needed to even the processing fees alone for a credit card is 5%.
Right.
So I mean that's kind of what we're talking about in terms of administrative overhead here.
Can you do it with a credit card if you want?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's put up the full screen that Carrie provided for us here. Go ahead and put it up.
Oh.
Pardon me? Oh, you don't have it?
This is it. Oh, we got the phone number on there and the address.
That's it, right. Oh, it's not a full screen. It's a lower third.
There it is.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
And, of course, with my aging eyes, I can't even read that. It says American Red Cross, but I can't read anything below.
The phone number is 455-1000. People can call there and make a donation. We can take a credit card. The other way, if people feel more comfortable, they can, of course, text to donate. They can text the word Harvey to 90999. And that's a donation that goes directly. It's a $10 donation if you do that. Or then if you do want to go online, the easiest website, which is not on there, but it's redcross.org/donate. And right from there, you can choose the Harvey Fund directly. You can make a credit card donation, and that money will certainly be going to support those in need who are in Texas right now.
Okay. All right. 436-MeTV option 11 if you want to call in and weigh in, and you can ask Barry Falke any questions. He's the executive director of the Red Cross, and we're trying to help raise some money, of course, for those victims in Hurricane Harvey. There's another hurricane on the way. It's called Irma. We don't know if it's going to hit land over there in the Gulf Coast, and we don't know how strong it's going to be. Right now it's a Category 5, and it's on a collision course with the state of Florida. So 436-MeTV option 11. Back in a moment.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, we'll help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Whirlpool appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start, but you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Touch the new Whirlpool Ice Collection. It offers a modern style made to create an inspiring kitchen experience. Save big on this Whirlpool Black Ice or White Ice kitchen. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
It's a classic line from the Bible. Cain asking, "Am I my brother's keeper?" In Texas, after Hurricane Harvey, a lot of Good Samaritans answered that question with the resounding yes. Dylan was there to see the kindness of strangers and neighbors firsthand.
Strangers coming together under the worst of circumstances. One in need of a hand in a desperate moment, the other helping however they can. With all of Harvey's destructive power, perhaps hope was built on these chance meetings with everyday heroes.
We need your help.
The call went out, and it didn't take long for it to be answered from across the country. Selfless displays of courage, bravery, and heroism on full display. Rising above the misery of the storm, acts of kindness at every turn. These guys know all too well the power of a hurricane.
When Louisiana gets in a bind, when we have problems, Texas responds, and we're not going to leave our brothers behind.
They're with the Cajun Navy, a volunteer group from Louisiana.
The more good you can do, that you just hope it passes on.
Where's the truck?
Jean Wilkie traveled 200 miles with her family to help.
We bought this raft in San Antonio and came out here, and those rafts are the ones that are going into like cul-de-sacs where our outboards can't get in.
Jean's not alone. So many people came in to help rescue people.
We're having to make rescues through roofs and everything else. People up on the roofs. We got airboats. We got guys coming helping us, so doing the best we can.
Those ladies asked if we could give them a ride. We just said, yeah, no problem, you know. We're no heroes or anything. We're just here to help people, you know.
Thank you!
And then there are the neighbors who formed a human chain to help a Houston mom get to safety when she went into labor during Harvey. As flood survivors began arriving at evacuation centers, more heroes emerged.
As soon as you get in register, tell me you want to see the doctor, okay?
At the George R. Brown Convention Center, Cynthia Rodriguez, a nurse, came to volunteer.
The kids are breaking my heart. That's what's breaking my heart, the kids. And the lost look of the elderly.
Victoria White and friends just wanted to make a tough situation a little better by lifting the spirits of evacuees, singing of glory. Others took families into their homes.
We're able to help somebody. That is really important for us.
And private businesses opened their doors too, like Gallery Furniture, turning its showroom into a shelter for hundreds.
Whatever we can do to help these people in time of need, that's what we're going to do.
Are you ready?
Real moments with real people, performing acts of humble heroism under the toughest circumstances.
Just a small portion of what's going on in Houston right now. And Barry, the phone number again is 455-1000 if people want to donate. redcross.org/donate. If they want to donate with a credit card, they can do it over the phone, or they can they send a check?
Absolutely.
Where do they send the check
So
to?
I think on the screen they have our chapter address where they can just mark Harvey in their memo line. So 1300 West Shaw Avenue. It's Suite 4B, so try to put that on there. But if it says Red Cross, it'll get to us.
Yeah, exactly. And so of the chapters that you have down in the Gulf States there, how many people have you been in contact with daily down there by phone?
So, we have a couple of volunteers that have been deployed, and so that's who we would probably be in contact with mostly.
What are they telling you? Give us a lengthy version of, because we have plenty of time here. I want a lengthy version about what they're reporting to you firsthand about what they're seeing down there in Houston.
So I think certainly we have people who are there as shelter managers. We have folks that are there doing public affairs and kind of telling the stories. We have one volunteer from Kern County that is there on the Louisiana side.
What are they telling you? What are they witnessing?
So she is talking. She's telling stories of people who certainly have a great amount of need that have been evacuated from the home, have left literally everything. There was one story in particular of a young man who literally had to kind of take his dog and hold his dog above his head, walking through water. And for almost an entire day, finally got to a Red Cross shelter and was able to put his head on a pillow and a cot at a Red Cross shelter and sleep. And there's a great photo of him and his dog just with them sleeping, cuddling together, which is kind of neat. But I mean, I think the stories that we're hearing is just of people who are of great people of great need, and then really just truthfully the amount of effort and just the wonderful way that people have stepped up to make sure that those needs are met, I think is really such a testimony to just our spirit as an American people. And I think it's just a wonderful, wonderful demonstration of just the love and the care that people have when there really is that need. So, I mean, we have one volunteer who's in a mega shelter with almost 2,000 people and is seeing kind of day after day.
Where exactly is it located?
That one's right there in right in Houston, the Houston shelter, the main one. I can't remember
So
the
these
name.
shelters there, are they in risky areas of the waters coming in, or are they on higher ground?
We traditionally are trying to always have shelters be in a place where there's not going to be a risk for we have to move people. Particularly, the large shelters are usually in convention centers, that type size of building, and so, I mean, really, some of those have up to 2,000 people in a shelter. And just if you could imagine the feeding operation that would go on with that, and making sure certainly that those people's needs are met, showering, to kind of the whole deal is a big piece. So
how are people showering? How are people eating? How are people getting by day to day with their hygiene and everything else? You have 2,000 people in a shelter or more. How does all this happen?
So we had several things on the ground prior to this event happening. Of course, in a lot of our shelter agreements, we try to identify shelters that would have showers, ADA compliant showers built in. My assumption, again, I've not been on the ground there, but is that the large mega shelters have built-in showers, or we have brought in showers. The other thing, portable showers, absolutely.
And hygiene supplies and all that.
So I was just going to mention, one of the things that the Red Cross does is provide what we call comfort kits. Comfort kits would include things like toothbrushes, toothpaste, shampoo, deodorant, things like that would be able to offer to those who are coming into our shelters. And those comfort kits were on the ground, ready to go staged. We had tons and tons of supplies ready to go prior to the event hitting landfall. And then it's just a function of getting all those supplies from the distribution centers to the right shelter locations, which has been a challenge in itself.
How many days advance notice did you have of it? Because we heard about Harvey in the news in advance, but some people, I've heard some criticism, not of the Red Cross, of course, but of forecasters say, hey, look, we needed to know about this earlier. Did you guys know with enough time in advance notice that this thing was happening? Because it's one thing to know about it 2 days in advance. You can't. How long does it take to set up a shelter? You can't set up a shelter in a day or two.
So you'd be surprised, John. I mean, I think one of the things I will tell you, one of the things the Red Cross is really good at is the Red Cross every day. Like when we have a shelter here we'll talk about the fires here in a little bit, I'm sure. I mean, we usually have a shelter set up within 2 hours. So it does not.
But Houston's a little bit different because this is a major city with hundreds of thousands of people that are without homes. So to create a shelter for 2,000 people takes more than a day.
It definitely does. Absolutely.
So did you have enough advance notice that?
I think we had a couple of days, and at that point we were mostly staging supplies and trying to get some people on the ground to get it started.
Yeah.
It really wasn't, I would say, until Saturday, a week ago Saturday, where we had large amounts of people kind of trying to get into the Houston area, trickling in. And that was a challenge, right? I mean, it was a challenge just because even getting into Houston was a bit of a struggle in terms of getting the volunteers there where we needed to do it. But I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, I think it was really, like I said, we have over 3,000 workers there on the ground right now, the Red Cross does. And that's 3,000 people that are coming from all over the nation to really support those who are in need right now.
Not only Fresno, but all over.
Yeah, and in fact, California actually has one of the least amount of deployed people, primarily because of the risk of wildfires we still have here in the area. And so the fear is that if we were to deploy all of our resources from California to Texas, that
it would make sense.
That if we had the wildfires that we're dealing with right now, that we'd be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, and look what's going on down in LA, down in Burbank.
Absolutely.
It's supposedly like one of, if not the biggest fire in California history.
Right.
I don't know if
it's a big one.
But it's a huge one. So you got that, and you got the fires going on here. So the Red Cross, a lot of volunteers work for the Red Cross, so you rely on those volunteers, am I right?
Over 95% of our workforce is volunteers. So, I mean, it truly is. We absolutely rely on volunteers.
So it's a calling.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. It's a calling. It's people who want to help, right? Who just have this innate desire and ability to make a difference or want to make a difference.
Right.
And I've met several people on different deployments, obviously not this one, but just that they have kind of devoted their life in retirement. In a lot of cases, it's a lot of retired folks who aren't working any longer, but who can literally just kind of go and support disasters with the Red Cross. So it really is a special thing.
Yeah, I just know I've heard certain things on the news. I wish we'd have known. I wish we were told by our forecasters that this thing was coming in earlier. Maybe I imagine the Red Cross had wished that too. But sometimes, I guess, and we had it far, you know, with Katrina, we knew far in advance that thing was coming. Just like we know about Irma right now.
Sure.
We know Irma's on the way, so we have advance notice. But with Harvey, it was a little bit different, wasn't it?
You know, I'm not a forecaster, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's not my level of expertise. I
You're
will
not
say,
expected to be.
at least not
You
yet.
rely
Thank
on
goodness.
the National Weather
We do,
Service.
and
I
we
mean,
do. You know,
I mean, how much do you rely on the National Weather Service?
absolutely,
almost every day.
I mean, I get a weather report to my email every day from the Red Cross that relies on that.
Everything going on around the nation.
Absolutely. So I mean, it is certainly important. I mean, I will say, you know, I have not heard that critique be super loud. I think we are fortunate that we were still able to get some supplies into the area ahead of time, several tons of supplies in the area ahead of time, whether that being comfort kits or bulk distribution items like cleanup kits that is going to be the next phase. But certainly, I think any advance warning helps.
It's just the worst thing to see the devastation down there and see people and people probably are still missing. You got the 63 that have perished, which is a sad story. And then you had people, you have all kinds of stories of people that are hanging on rooftops, and kids sleeping on countertops in their kitchens, waiting for up to 12, 14, 16 hours for somebody to come in and rescue them. And, you know, the story, I'm sure you heard it, I got to go to break here, but somebody, I don't know, it was an elderly couple that called for Chick-fil-A. Remember that? They called for a takeout. They showed up in like a ski boat and they rescued them. They got their chicken, but they also got rescued out of their house because it was totally flooded. Barry Falke is here from the American Red Cross right here in the Central Valley. So if you want to donate to the Red Cross, we'll put that up right now. It's 455-1000. It's called redcross.org/donate, and the number is on your screen. You can donate comfort kits, you can donate money, whatever you choose to do. Back in just a moment here. You're watching Connect with me on MeTV Fresno, and if you want to call in, we have an open phone line. Back in a moment.
Frigidaire. It means the first electric refrigerator. The first compact electric range. Now, there's the Frigidaire Gallery Range with Symmetry double ovens. It's designed to cook multiple dishes at multiple temperatures, so you can prepare the entire meal at the same time. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Coming around you. How are you?
Okay, so couches are good. Yeah, we're good.
Get your stuff. Whatever you wanna take, just put it in the bag. John and I guess some other guys are coming as well.
Yeah, no way I'm preparing that.
No, you don't look at it. Just put together what you want to take there.
Oh, I'm so glad though about some of the furniture and stuff. It's good, so hopefully it'll be okay.
The bed, yeah. Everything is fine.
We'll be okay?
start bagging up clothes.
I think we just take clothes that we're going to use for the kids.
No, but you want to get everything up or it's going to collect more moisture and it's
That's, I
ruined.
mean, I know.
And you know, there are countless stories like that of families being displaced, their homes destroyed, their families are devastated by the ruins. You know, they spent a lifetime building a house, building a home, having their families live there. They go to work and they come back and they see everything is underwater. And you wonder who's going to pay for all this. And I heard that the majority of the people down in Texas, around Houston and the surrounding areas of Beaumont and everywhere else, Corpus Christi, you know, these people, they don't have flood insurance. So you know, the American Red Cross can't help in that area.
Right.
You can help with food, clothing, shelter, but I guess FEMA would take over there. That's the national, obviously, the agency that helps victims of any kind of, you know, natural disaster that goes on. But you gotta wonder. I mean, let's say you have a house, it's worth $200,000-$300,000 and it gets totally destroyed, no flood insurance, you owe $150,000 or $200,000 on that house, it's gone.
Yeah, it's certainly not easy.
So you get, what do you get? Low
means.
interest loans from the U.S. government? What happens? Do you know?
I'm not certainly an expert on the FEMA stuff, nor should I probably speak to kind of what that would look like.
That's
But
okay.
but I will say this about the Red Cross. You know, the Red Cross. I like to think about the Red Cross a lot about like being a bridge to the longer term resources, right? You know, and that really is the Red Cross's role is in meeting the immediate needs, and then we're going to work with every client who's in a shelter, a Red Cross shelter at least, to ensure that they have what we call a transition plan or a long-term recovery plan. So that's something that we take very seriously.
Yeah. Hey, caller, good morning. You're on the air with Barry Falke. He is the executive director of the Red Cross. What's your question or comment?
Morning, John and Gary. Barry, listen, I don't know if I just pulled in and I know a little about the Red Cross, and I did give something to them about a week ago, honey.
Okay.
Okay, here's the question. Why is the CEO paid so much to her? I think it's a her, if it's not mistaken. Still according to sources on Google, it's still Gail?
Gail McGovern is our CEO. Correct.
Am I correct or wrong?
Yeah,
You're correct.
Gail
Yes,
McGovern
it
is our
Gail
CEO.
McGovern, yes.
Okay. Is there? And it did say it doesn't come out of the funds from the Red Cross.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, and thank you for the question.
Hang on there, caller. Go ahead.
I think it's a really good question. I thank you for bringing it up. You know,
And that's my question. And how is it voted on that she gets a raise if she wants one or asks for it?
Sure.
Okay, that's the second question. I mean, it's a little bit much for my take as far as what she's getting paid.
No, let me try to address that. I think that's a very fair question.
Explain to me and
What did you read online as to how much she makes?
Yeah. Wait, I'm sorry. Say it again, John. Say
Caller, how much does she make according to what you read online?
According to the computer, $500,000 a year.
So that's
what she.
All right.
Even and then the Canadian Red Cross, I believe. I don't know if she has something to do with it. Also makes that much too. They're pretty close, neck and neck.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a little confused there, but okay. Thank you, John and Barry. Keep up the good work. I love Red Cross. It does work. And it's just a little bit much for my take as far as CEOs, what they make. Thank you.
Okay, Barry could probably explain that. I appreciate the phone call, and thanks for watching.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right.
My pleasure.
All right. So I guess the question is, he wants to know, the caller wants to know, why is she paid so much? This is Gail McGovern, the national CEO for the Red Cross, and where does that money come from? Does it come from donations?
So I mean, the The caller is correct. The Gail's salary has been $500,000 for the past 9 years. She has not taken a raise since she became the executive director or the CEO of the organization. And I think one of the things that I would respond first to that is we have to remember that this is a $3.5 billion a year budget organization, right? And so when you have an organization that is $3.5 billion a year, I think retaining talent in the nonprofit world is something that's really important to do, and having the right leaders in place. I feel
is she the right leader?
I think so. I think so. I think she's definitely led us through a number of transitions. She's led the One Red Cross movement, which really took us from having all individual chapters to having one organization. That's one of the things that we kind of came and started to do when she came to us back in, I guess it was 2008 now. I think she is a great leader, and I honestly think that when you consider a $3.5 billion budget, I can tell you that there are plenty of for-profit organizations, I'm sure, with much smaller budgets that have CEOs that are making in the millions of dollars.
Right. Now, does her salary come from the donations?
The salary comes from the operation of the business. So I mean, like we do, but it's not just financial donations. It's the fact that we sell when we sell a course to do first aid or CPR. It's the biomed, which is about half of our business. People may not know that about half of the Red Cross's budget comes from blood collection and the expenses and the income that comes from our blood collection business, where we collect about 45% of the nation's blood. So it's not just.
So the Red Cross does 45. You do collect 45%.
We collect 45% of the nation's blood.
All right.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is being used in Houston, I would assume.
I would assume all over the country, all the time. Yeah. I mean, definitely a lot probably being sent to the Texas area right now.
Yeah, but it's a fair question. And,
Definitely.
And it's a concern for people that want to donate. They want to know, okay, am I donating to the salary, to your salary, to Gail's salary, to anyone's salary? That is part of it. Because a certain part of the donations, I don't know what the percentage is, maybe you can help me out here, goes towards salaries, administration, cost, overrun, overhead, all that stuff.
It's 9%. Right,
Okay.
I mean that's the number.
9% off the top.
So 9% goes to administrative and fundraising costs for the organization, and I think that's a number that I think is that if you go to look at Charity Navigator, you look at the Better Business Bureau, you look at GuideStar, all of these nonprofit websites.
You need an operating cost.
You absolutely do.
You need someone in charge of the organization.
And
Gail came in what, 2008?
2008.
2008. So I was after Katrina.
Right.
Yeah, and she's, in your opinion, done.
I think she's done a really good job, and again, has never taken an increase in salary in her 9 years here at this point. To answer the caller's question, if there was going to be an increase in salary, it'd be done by our Board of Governors, which is an elected national board. So,
all right, got to go to break, and I want to come back and talk more with Barry. And 436-MeTV option 11 455-1000 is the number to the Red Cross if you want to donate. And the Red Cross does do a lot of good, not only in the Central Valley and in California with all the fires that we have here. We can't deplete our Red Cross system here in California because of all the grass fires and wildfires that take place here. You know what's going on down in Southern California there. But we have sent representatives down to Houston to help those people. If you want to donate online, very easy, redcross.org/donate. Got another call here, or you can donate some of the comfort kits. You can donate some of the, obviously people need hygiene, right? And so calls coming in, or is it going to go out? Stop ringing. So let me see here. Caller, are you there? Hello? I guess the caller went away. So if you want to donate some of these comfort hygiene kits, they include what? Toothpaste, deodorant, mouthwash, shampoo, soap, bar soap, whatever the case may be, to keep yourself, clean. And it's and really, like Barry said, the Red Cross is a short-term gap for people looking to get back on their feet in the long run. It's not, the Red Cross wasn't designed to help people for a lifetime. It's just a short-term gap in between disasters. 436-MeTV option 11. Any other calls or questions you got, call in back in just a moment.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Frigidaire Gallery appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start, but you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Time for that upgrade to an ENERGY STAR qualified French door Frigidaire Gallery refrigerator. Quality appliances for the way you live. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise.
We're standing outside of Lakewood Church, and you see all the folks lined up to get aid right now. This is also the home for Pastor Joel Osteen, and we are the only show that was invited inside the doors, and we had to ask him point blank, did he wait too long to start delivering aid?
Now, there was a gentleman who posted a video, put his camera up to the window, saying that there's no water in here. Why aren't the doors open? I can't get in.
You know, it depends on what day that is. That street could flood, and in 14 hours it can be down.
Where was the flooding inside?
It was 1 foot from coming over this flood wall.
We toured Joel's megachurch, which started accepting evacuees on Tuesday. They've taken in about 400 people and counting, but that hasn't stopped the online shaming.
People out there are going to say, well, he changed his mind because critics forced him to do. What do you say to that?
You know, again, Kevin, I don't really think about it. I can be at peace because I know we did the right thing.
This seats, what, 16,000 people? So why wouldn't you bring people in here? Why wouldn't you open this up?
Right now, we'll take as many as we can, and we're happy to do it if we need to do it now.
Across from the church, this hotel housed evacuees from day one. But a nearby Starbucks was closed due to water damage. Joel says the city never asked Lakewood to be a shelter.
Should you have prepared for this situation?
Had we had known it was going to be this huge of a flood, we would have prepared sooner. But, you know, even our volunteers and our staff couldn't get to the building.
Last night, Lakewood held its first service since the storm. Joel became emotional as they paid tribute to the victims. This morning, people on foot and in cars lined up to get essentials. They especially need baby products.
In hindsight, would you have opened this place up and put 500 beds in here?
I think in hindsight, if we knew the storm was going to hit before...
Knowing what you know now.
Knowing what I know now, I would have put staff in here before the storm hit, put beds, do everything we could to be prepared.
Now, Pastor Osteen really tried to focus on the future. He is going to dedicate 12 members of his staff to focusing just on the victims from Harvey, not only helping them get the essentials they need, but also helping them financially.
All right, and as you know, you've seen that story about Joel Osteen, of course, obviously online, on the internet, on some of maybe some of the Facebook posts, Twitter, all the social media accounts. He's been heavily criticized, even by the three networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. They've all been on him about this, and I want to clarify right now, that ministry has nothing to do with the Red Cross. It's simply Joel Osteen's ministry there. But, and I'm not even going to ask you to comment, but if you want to, go ahead, because it has nothing really to do with the Red Cross. But I wanted to point that out in case maybe some people had not heard about the controversy.
I would just say, you know, like I'm the type of person that likes to assume positive intentions in people, right? I mean, I think that in a chaotic experience like a hurricane like this, everyone's trying to do the very best they can.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, caller, you're on the air with Barry Falke. He is the executive director of the Red Cross here locally. What's your question or comment?
Yeah, one comment about Osteen. I love him. You can say whatever. But he does a lot, too, for all people. But I want to direct a question real quick. The American Red Cross, does it only help the people from the United States? Or, like, you know, all these hurricanes coming from you know, up the coast?
Yeah.
Do they get help, too, from the American Red Cross? That's what I want to know.
Sure, it's great.
Also, real quick.
So is the question, do you help people all over the world? Is that kind of the question, as I understand it? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I would assume you do. I mean, Red Cross is all over the place.
So the American Red Cross, obviously, we kind of focus on the incidents and disasters that are taking place here in the United States.
On the continental U.S.
However, we have an international wing to our organization to where, of course, when there's a disaster that affects different areas or different countries, we are going to be sending aid,
Let's
workers,
say there's an
and money.
earthquake in India.
Yeah.
You've got volunteers on the ground helping.
in most cases, the American Red Cross will send some people. We will more than likely definitely send aid or resources or money. But I mean, a number of these countries have their own Red Crosses as well. So, and there is also the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent societies. So, these organizations are all over the world that are a part of this network of people who I think are really committed to caring in times of disaster.
Yeah. Okay, caller, anything else?
Yeah, one quick question. Why doesn't the United Nations get involved? You know, it's only the United States, basically, that helps a lot of the nations when something happens. I think the United Nations should be aware that they are, you know, people that need help, not only just us giving them help. There are probably other countries too, but that's what I want to answer or question.
Okay.
I have a question to you. Thank you.
You got it, caller. Thank you for watching. Thank you for calling, and donate if you can. What about the UN?
You know, I can't really speak to that. I'm not quite sure what is the trigger point into where they get involved. I mean, I have to believe the UN works really closely with, again, our international federation.
Right.
But I'm not quite sure where the trigger points are for that.
Right. What do you want people to know? Is there any misconception about the Red Cross? What do you want people to know about the Red Cross that maybe they don't know? Because I know that they help people.
Yeah.
The Red Cross is usually there almost every time for natural disasters to help people, like in Houston, they did in Katrina. In fact, the Red Cross responded much faster to Katrina than our own government did. If you remember, George W. Bush was in office, and it took forever to get a response for him to go down there. And it's not a criticism of George W. Bush. I'm just saying, oftentimes the Red Cross is first on scene, Johnny on the spot, and you're there before any federal government comes in with federal aid.
So I think the one misconception, I've been with the Red Cross now 2.5 years, and I would say the biggest thing that I find that people maybe don't know is that the Red Cross responds to every disaster.
No matter where.
No matter where or no matter what it is. And so let me give you an example here, John. Like in the Central Valley over the last 365 days, we've responded to over 400 house fires here locally in the Central Valley.
In the last year?
In the last year.
400?
And so whether it's a single house fire or whether it is Hurricane Harvey, it's the Red Cross that's there to respond. And so it's our volunteers that, you know, when there's a home fire, sometimes we are there right
3 in the morning.
3 in the morning, whether it's 1 in the morning, whether it's 2 in the afternoon. It's our volunteers that are going out and providing hope and comfort to those families.
Why don't people know this?
Well, we're trying to that's why we're here, right? We're to get the word out.
I know this because I've worked in news for a long time, many years, so I've seen that actually happen.
I think that people oftentimes rally around the Red Cross in these large disasters, which of course we're incredibly grateful for.
Right.
But I do think that, you know, the Red Cross responds to 66,000 disasters every year, and most of those are home fires.
So the sad part is, you know, it takes sometimes a Katrina or a Hurricane Harvey to make people wake up and say, hey, there is a Red Cross. You need to maybe be aware of that when there is no disaster on the radar.
Well, and especially just to know that it's happening right in your own backyard, that you have a local Red Cross. Of course, people think about Red Cross from this national perspective and these major disasters, but there's a local chapter right here of the Red Cross that's responding to home fires that right now has 3 shelters open. Our Central Valley chapter has 3 shelters open for 3 different fires going on in our area. But that to me, I think, John, that's the biggest misconception. The biggest misconception is people think the Red Cross pop in and pop out for major disasters, but we are actually active all of the time here in the Central Valley, making sure that residents in our community have their basic needs met in times of disaster. And then we're also really working hard every day to bring preparedness efforts, right? So it's not just about response. What your viewers may not know is that we install free smoke alarms to families who need them. We create evacuation plans with families right here in the local area. So there's a lot that happens from the Red Cross.
And you can go to the Red Cross and learn CPR too.
Absolutely. We have classes multiple times a week for first aid or CPR as well.
All right. If you want to donate to Hurricane Harvey victim, maybe you already have donated. I know the
Thank
one
you if you
caller
have.
did call in and say that he already donated last week. All right. 455-1000 is the number to the Red Cross, or redcross.org/donate. You can donate money with a credit card. You can donate money any other way that you can, possibly a check. You can also donate these comfort kits so people can, you know, clean themselves up. They can go take a shower. Let's take this call before we go to break, shall we? All right, another call coming in. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air with Barry Falke. What's your question or comment?
Hi, John. Hi, Barry. Great, interesting show today. Thank you for having him on. Just learned something new about the Red Cross. Two questions.
There you go.
In regards to the how you guys help for home fires, can you maybe talk a little bit to the effect of in what capacity? So when somebody calls 911 and the fire department and the police department respond, there's a you have a Red Cross van pull up. That would be my
Absolutely.
All right.
And then the second question is: is the Red Cross starting with the threat of all this hype about nuclear possibility? Is the Red Cross starting to get any type of training in the event of something happens?
All right, we got to answer that after the break.
Sure.
Okay, caller, thank you. Back in just a moment here on Connect with Me, 436 Me TV option 11. Barry will answer both questions when we come back.
The following is a list of celebrities you will not see on MeTV programs. Charlie Sheen, Lindsay Lohan, Snooki, Paris Hilton, Perez Hilton, Honey Boo Boo, Justin Bieber, Simon Cowell, Chris Brown, Miley Cyrus, and the Real Housewives of any place. This is who you will see on MeTV programs. Lucy, Ralph, Mary, Perry, Gilligan, Kenner, Spock, Batman, Rowdy, Festus, and the Beaver. MeTV. Thanks for watching.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Frigidaire Gallery appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start, but you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Time for that upgrade to an Energy Star qualified French door Frigidaire Gallery refrigerator. Quality appliances for the way you live. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise.
Believe it or not, as Barry Falke just said a moment ago, the Red Cross very active even when there is not a national disaster, a natural disaster that is, and responding to over 400 house fires right here in the Central Valley just within the last year. So the last caller calling in wanting to know to what capacity do you help these folks that at 3 o'clock in the morning they have a house fire, the Red Cross shows up. What happens next?
Sure. So the way that the system kind of works is that the fire battalion chiefs, when they have a house fire, would call our national dispatch number. The national dispatch number then calls our local Red Cross, and we're able to kind of take the call first.
No, I want you to finish.
So we take the call. We dispatch. Okay, yeah.
Hang on, caller. Get to you in a moment. Go ahead.
So we dispatch our local volunteers to that home fire. That the local volunteers are going to provide hope and comfort to those who are affected. We're going to not only provide them excuse me, some comfort kits that we've been mentioning. We're going to be providing them financial assistance by way of what we call a client assistance card. And so we actually financially provide assistance. And again, the same way that if we were opening a shelter to provide a short-term gap to help people on their way to recovery, in a home fire, we're doing the same thing.
Do you help pay for a hotel or something temporarily?
So that's essentially what this card allows them to do, is we put some money on there that allows them to make their own decisions. We are very... one of the things that we take very seriously is allowing our clients to have the option to kind of make their own decisions of what their recovery looks like. And so for some, they may already have a place to stay, and we want to make sure that they have the money they need to restore items or toiletries or to make sure they have baby food that night. For some, they may not have a place to stay, so they can get themselves a hotel room on that card.
And the Red Cross helps them in that regard.
Absolutely.
So you help them with food, shelter, clothing, the comfort kits. So the Red Cross doing a lot of good here in the Central Valley in the last year or so, responding to over 400 fires. The second part of the question, if we can go quickly on this, Barry, because we're running out of time. All right, you know the nuclear threat, obviously, from North Korea. They now have a ballistic missile that can reach the United States, both the East Coast and West Coast. And the caller wanted to know, is there any preparation that the Red Cross is doing for any kind of possible nuclear fallout?
So I'll just respond and say that I'm not sure that I have been privy or heard of specific preparation related to that specific disaster. But I will say that the Red Cross, just like with Hurricane Harvey, there's no other organization in the world that I think can deploy resources and people to a needed location like the Red Cross is able to.
I don't think so.
And we would be willing to do that, of course. I mean, whatever for any disaster.
Or otherwise.
Right.
All right, caller, quickly, we're short on time.
Okay, I don't want to put a negative thought in, but I have a question. Years ago, there was something about the Red Cross receiving money and everything, and that there was some people that were taking, I hate to think of it, but there were some people that were taking the money, and the money wasn't all being used towards problem. My question is when you put your money, how does it get to the people, or what do you do with it, or, you know, what's the way that it goes through the channels to get to that person? And can we make sure that our money is going to this specific thing, or does it just go to all the different areas that the Red Cross helps?
Okay.
Great question, caller. Thanks so much for the question. Let me respond on a couple of things. One, to your question about will the money go directly to the Harvey response or what you choose to have it donated to. We take very seriously our role in donor intent, and so whatever a donor would want their donation to go to, whether that be home fires, whether that be Hurricane Harvey, whether that be our blood services, that's really where that money is going to go.
91 cents of every dollar
exactly
goes directly to whatever you donated, whatever disaster you donated to.
Right.
Am I right?
That's right. Right. So I mean, there is
you got that, caller?
Yeah, and I know you're in a hurry, but just let me reiterate. How long does it take to get to those people, or how does it get, I mean, you know, where does...
How does it get to them, and how long does it take?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I mean, that's happening, I mean, in real time almost. I mean, truthfully, particularly for those who are donating on a credit card, that frees up the resources for the Red Cross to right away deploy those dollars right back into those communities.
Okay. Did we satisfy you, caller?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I appreciate you watching the show, and thank you for calling in.
Sure that it's safe. I just want to make sure that, you know, because sometimes there's charities out there, and I hate to say that people will scam on them, but they will, you know, and I want to make sure that my money's going there.
Absolutely.
Going right to the problem, because it's so far away we can't get to it, you know?
Yeah.
That's equally important to the Red Cross, I can assure you.
Thank you so much for your answer, and have a great day.
You got it. Thank you for watching and calling. Appreciate it very much. All right, let's get to it. Here in the Central Valley, down in Southern California, by the way, they got the Burbank fire, big one. But here in the Central Valley, up in Oakhurst, you got two of them going out of control. Railroad fire, the Mission fire, the Pier fire in Tulare. You now have a shelter in Porterville for that one. So explain, I think I've got 3 minutes left. Explain how you're helping with all three of these fires, both in Oakhurst and the one in Tulare.
So last night alone, we had over 70 people stay in shelters right in our own Central Valley area. So that's the first point, right?
More than 300?
70. More than 70 people stay in shelters right here in the Central Valley due to those fires.
Okay.
So there are fires that are up in Oakhurst right now in Madera County, Mariposa County, and a fire in Tulare County. The Red Cross, very similarly to the way that we would respond to the Hurricane Harvey and have shelters open and are providing food, meals, comfort, cots, blankets, toiletries, all of those things, the way that we would do that just the same way we're doing in Hurricane Harvey, we're doing that right here locally right now too.
At the shelter in Porterville.
Well, there's one in Porterville. There's two shelters open in Oakhurst right now as well.
Oakhurst, okay.
So there we have 3 shelters open right now. Currently for residents affected by those fires. And I think my point here, John, more than anything else, is just, again, the work of the local Red Cross is happening congruently to the work of the Red Cross for Hurricane Harvey or these major disasters.
And how many Red Cross people on the ground over there in these fires, Oakhurst and Tulare?
Oh gosh, we have probably anywhere from probably a dozen or so volunteers right now that are kind of managing those shelters.
In each location?
Absolutely, yeah.
A dozen in each?
Dozen in Oakhurst, probably a dozen that are supporting the Porterville fire too.
Yeah. How big are these shelters? How many people can you hold?
So most of our shelters here, they're different ranges. I know that we're at Porterville College right now, which is probably a larger capacity. The 2 shelters we have in Oakhurst each have about a 50-person capacity. So these aren't what we would say mega shelters,
so how
right?
Many people could you hold at the most, would you say?
Oh, right now we could hold up to 300 or more. We would just open more shelters.
Yeah,
so each shelter has a capacity of what we were able to do. If there was a need, we would just open an additional shelter.
Yeah. It's an endless, almost thankless job, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes it feels that way, but I will say the incredible spirit of the Central Valley has been wonderful. The outpouring has been wonderful in the last week, and we've been so grateful for all of those who have really contributed and made a difference.
Okay, so once again, the Red Cross number, put it up on the screen, 455-1000 or redcross.org/donate. You can donate money or the comfort kits, and your address quickly.
1300 West Shaw Avenue on Fresno between Fruit and Palm.
Barry Falke, you've been here before, my friend.
I have.
what's your third or fourth appearance? I can't remember. but
Something like that.
Yeah, come back again.
I will. Thank you so much, John.
All right, the
Appreciate
Executive
it.
Director of the Red Cross, Barry Falke, we appreciate his time today, and good luck on those fires, both in Oakhurst and down in Tulare. Two big ones going on, or three big ones going on at the same time. Back tomorrow with another edition of Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. Have a good day.